Hello and welcome to episode 56 of Ring Takes here with Brian and Lewis here. As always, thank you guys for joining me. We are getting into the thick of WrestleMania season as we're only, a week away, roughly, to the big two-night extravaganza. As this stop on Monday Night Raw takes a turn here and we finally get physical. Last week we were claiming how a lot of these feuds needed to get physical and something needed to happen, especially in our first segment where we have The Rock taking out Cody Rhodes in an attitude throwback beatdown, sort of. Taking out Cody Rhodes, the guy that's going to main event WrestleMania on night 1 and night 2. Cody Rhodes came out early in the night making a passionate promo, as he always does, alluding to The Rock, the bloodline, and an assortment of other things. That led to The Rock coming out, which we thought we were going to get a back and forth promo. And we had nothing from The Rock besides a whisper. Very spoken. Well, he whispered to Cody, and I joked that he said, "I forgot my lines." And that's why the segment ended early. But no, that was not the case. Later, it was revealed he said, "Tonight, I'm going to make you bleed," which is something that we usually don't hear in this day and age in WWE because of blood. Usually, the ref stops the match. He puts the gloves on. They try to clean it up. Even when you go back to old videos on WWE, they usually make it black and white so you don't see the blood. But in this instance, later in the night, after a match with Jey Uso losing to Shinsuke Nakamura, Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa got involved, and that led to Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins coming out and basically evening the odds in the fight in a brawl, leading to Cody going backstage against Jimmy, Solo. He's taking those guys on, and then out of nowhere, the final boss, the Brahma Bull, Bloodline boss, The Rock, takes out Cody Rhodes and starts attacking him, starts throwing him to everything, saying, "Hey, how you like that? This is what happens when you mess with me," and basically bringing out the belt that said Mama Rhodes, which I thought was a nice touch in that, and basically just beating the hell out of Cody Rhodes in a throwback beatdown. What do you guys think about that whole development and The Rock finally getting physical?
All right, Luz, you can go first on this since you had a certain opinion on this.
Yes, I was happy that The Rock finally did something. I feel like it's been a long time coming. I shouldn't say a long time coming, but we haven't seen The Rock. I mean, besides his little, usually when he comes back, he, usually does the same thing, talks to the crowd, beats up the heel, gives them the people's elbow, and everyone's happy. But we're in the heel Rock era right now, and I don't know, the whole segment. I don't know, this whole I don't know. It just feels different. This whole I feel like it's been happening more with these little comments, and then people just walk away, and they're like, "Oh, what did he say?" or "What it is?" It's just I don't know if you guys are just on purpose trying to be mysterious or think it's giving the story depth. I don't know. In the world of wrestling, everybody wants to know what the hell is going on. So that's just
it's a lightning point because it's everybody's going to be drawn to hey, what did he say? There were people slowing down the video instantly saying, "What did he say?" and "How did this go?" And
still, it's you guys are publicly feuding for the world to see, and now you want to just be like,
yes, I understand it from that standpoint, and especially when we were getting all the talking points from these guys week to week to week, leading up to this beatdown. It's okay, so we're not going to get you guys interacting back and forth throughout the night. There's not going to be anything here.
Yeah,
I understand it from that standpoint. What you're saying.
But I was just saying, kind of before it's or I even mentioned in the chat, I'm as big as The Rock is, the way this man beat down Cody Rhodes, just it's just, I don't know, maybe he's rusty, he hasn't done this in a while, it's been it's been quite a couple of years, since The Rock has had a backstage fight or anything. Hey, maybe he didn't want to get it dirty, but I don't know. It was just The Rock's not a small man. I feel like he could definitely do some damage to somebody, and just from what I saw, it was just very lackluster to me. Obviously definitely showing off heel characteristics, the blood, talking about his mom. I think the belt was a nice touch, but it kind of dragged on a little too much for me. It's just like, dude, like you're just trying to come off as this big imposing power, and it's like you're hitting them with like aluminum trash cans, like 2 punches. Just throwing them into the bus, and stuff. I'm not gonna lie. At one point, I thought he was actually gonna throw him over. Like
I was just about to say that. I was gonna get into
they were whatever parking lot they were on top of. Which I was like, okay, this might actually be some crazy shit or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if there's also like just a shift coming now with the whole TKO thing. Are we kind of stepping out of this whole PG era? With Rock saying like, this is what happened when you fuck with the boss. Obviously bleeped out, but the crowd there, and we've seen people post online where they're like, hey, this dude's going off. He's swearing, he's saying, obviously things that aren't allowed on TV, but it's like, is this slowly the direction that we're going into? I'd like to. And then obviously the blood, once again, didn't show us anything crazy that would make us think that, he should be busted open or whatever.
That's exactly what Cody did. Yeah.
Exactly. It was kind of a long pause. And I think for us veteran watchers of wrestling know how that goes, But
when you see AEW every week and they're bleeding profusely,
they're hard hitting. They're like, throwing chairs and going through tables and making it look like they're actually crashing into the ring post. It's a little more, I guess, believable in my eyes. But just, I don't know. My only complaint was just for as big as The Rock is, he should be like slamming them crazy into things back and forth. It was just more like he was just like a ping pong ball bounce. Oh, hey, Mama Rhodes. Oh, look, he's bleeding. And then it was like, that was it, So I don't know. That was just my take on it.
Physicality. That's all we have been asking for as the next steps in this feud. For the last 4 weeks, it's pretty. Aside from the from the respective slaps from both Cody and The Rock, it's pretty much just been a whole bunch of talking segments. It's been Cody talking about finishing the story. It's been about the Rock, kind of throwing around his authority now, being on the board and talking about how the Bloodline is going to retain the title. So it's been a lot of talking. And it got to a point where we had to get some physicality sooner or later. If not this week, then on the go home shows next week. So for just the purpose of physicality, this beatdown was definitely a positive because it was well needed. And like Lewis during the beatdown, I really actually did think that Rock was going to throw Cody Rhodes over the thing because they got close to the edge a couple of times where you really thought psychologically with the direction the company's going, then they may do that. But
if this was at the start of March, I would have been like, all right. But we're 2 weeks out to WrestleMania. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
but it could have been a scenario where he killed him. And then...
But I think, Lewis, you think that it was a lackluster beatdown? I honestly think if it was lackluster, it was only because, like you said, he hasn't been physical like this since what? I can't even think of the last year that we saw Rock get physical. Maybe WrestleMania 32, maybe, or maybe after that, a couple of the Jinder Mahal the Jinder Mahal on Raw. Yes, so obviously, but it's been few and far between. So so maybe so his timing maybe is off, or maybe he was trying to protect him, but still make it look vicious at the same time. I mean, it was quick. It was pretty obvious that Cody did blade his forehead because they did cut away from him for like a good 10, 15 seconds when Rock was talking shit to the camera. Next thing you know, Cody's bleeding. I'm like, okay. But the beatdown, it was what it was, but it was well needed. And I feel that the beatdown was so significant to the point that I think people want to see Cody and Rock more than they want to see Cody and Roman now. because the beatdown was so significant. But that's the only negative that I take from it. Just that because it was what it was. Now people want to see those two instead of Cody finishing his story per se.
And this is the thing I've been saying. It's like The Rock is literally overshadowing literally Roman Reigns' reign right now. It's just like, you have the biggest star with the longest title reign in modern history, and it's just like Rock comes in and just has been hogging the spotlight, So, you would think the physicality would be more Cody Roman, and them kind of, getting each other's faces and, getting pulled apart or going at it, but it's literally the main Rock Cody.
This is my thoughts on it. I thought the rain added to the effects of it. I thought that was a nice touch. If you saw any photos or still shots from it, that was dope. I thought the rain outside was dope. I thought that was a nice natural addition to that beatdown. So I'm like, okay, that's something that we haven't really seen before in wrestling, where it's raining outside. These guys are brawling and stuff like that. I felt like it would have been better if Cody would have got some shots back in and they were going back and forth, and then The Rock took over. I also joked that The Rock's pants were too tight, and that's why he was just kind of just Godzilla-ing, Godzilla
like throw. The tux. He's like,
I'm like, yeah, I know. When he was doing that little people's kick when he shakes his leg, I'm like, yo, hold up. He barely moved his leg.
His pants are too tight. His pants are too tight. You might want to go back to the swishy pants Rock, the corporate Rock. You might want to go back to that. But the beatdown, as I feel kind of like what Lewis was saying, was kind of lackluster a little bit, just because of beatdowns that we've seen in the past and seen guys really get taken out. And now we get this, and it's kind of like, we understand, as you guys were saying, as Lewis was saying, that The Rock towers over Cody Rhodes. And it's like, okay, he looks like Kane next to Cody Rhodes. He looks huge, right? So you're expecting a little bit more damage, and yeah, he threw him into the barricade and the media boxes behind out back. Threw him into the concrete wall and the bus. It's like, okay, this should be feeling a little bit more effective than it actually is. But as you guys were saying, that how this is kind of overshadowing Roman Reigns' title match. And I felt like in my head when you just said that, I'm like, at least it would have been better if him and Roman were beating up Cody, because then you would have just had those guys just teeing off. It would have been better promo for the camera, and then they would have been like, "Hey, see what we do?" And just kind of like we're a unit, right? Even though because we didn't even see Jimmy and Solo after The Rock came in. Like, where were they? Like, they all should have been ganging up on Cody Rhodes, showing the odds. And I felt like that was a missing production. I don't know if Roman couldn't make it or whatever it was, but I just felt like that was a misstep. We understand who The Rock is. Like, we didn't need him to be singled out again. But ultimately, in the overall aspect of things, this was needed. Like, this was needed. And that's what we've been talking about since last week. Hey, this needs to get physical at some point in order to be effective. This has to be physical, because we're not getting a lot of interactions besides promos, and that's good. But the things that, when you look at past brawls and promos and stuff like that, of WrestleMania past, you go back to Austin and Shawn Michaels, the beatdowns that they went back and forth with, The Rock and Austin, John Cena, JBL, like all these guys had interactions beefing with each other leading up to the event. And I thought that was something that was missing, and we got it. And for whatever me and Lewis thought it was, or a couple other people thought it was effective. Like, they got what they want. The promo package is going to look incredible night one at WrestleMania when they're showing The Rock beating the hell out of Cody Rhodes. It's going to look impressive. Any concerns we have is going to be wiped away in that 2.5 minute promo before the match. It's going to be awesome.
I think I'm really hoping that these go home shows before WrestleMania, like, they just let these guys go all out. Like, I want to see brawl after brawl after brawl. Like, I want to see security or announcers coming out trying to separate them like that. I feel like that has always been the most effective in, like, oh, these guys hate each other. Like, whenever we saw, like, people nonstop going after each other before pay-per-views, it was like, you hear Michael Cole like, oh, these two hate each other. Like, you feel the rivalry, but it's like, literally 2 weeks before Mania, we're finally getting something And it's just like, it's been a lot of talking. It's been a kind of like I said, like more UFC style, where it's just like, I'm going to talk my talk, and then, I'll see you in the ring, which essentially that's what WWE's always done. But they've also let people like bad blood build, and, oh, look, he took out his leg, or he took out his this or his ankle, blah, 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 injury, whatever. But it's like, we're just finally now getting this stuff. And I don't know. It just, like you guys said, it was needed, but from what The Rock showed us, it wasn't peak beat down to me.
Okay. So question. So what would have needed to happen in order for that whole segment to have been satisfying for the both of you?
What's funny, as you were talking about it, like briefly, when like Solo took out AJ Styles, I felt like how simple of a beatdown that was effective. And I mean, obviously, The Rock's not going to be jumping off like some.
Hey, you might be a rookie again. You might be a rookie again.
I mean, he could have did a Rock bottom.
No, exactly. But even if he would have grabbed a chair or something, throwing him through a table, whatever.
So you didn't like the trash can?
Yeah,
you didn't like the trash can in the toolbox.
Come on,
you didn't like that.
I mean, it was a headshot. It was a headshot.
I thought he was going to take out a screwdriver and dat Cody Rhodes, and that's how he was going to get him to bleed. When I saw the toolbox, I thought he was going to.
This is why you're right,
or something. And
even if you would have grabbed a hammer and just been like,
all these tools in these toolbox that I'm trying to hit you with, nope. I'm not going to use any of that. So I think that's what it was. And again, as I alluded to it, I think if it was more of the bloodline as a unit taking out Cody Rhodes and having that visual in the ring with Roman Reigns there as well, would have added to it, because Cody Rhodes is not just facing The Rock. He's facing Roman Reigns as well. So I felt like that would have been a dope visual to have those guys just beating them up, teeing off, taking turns, going back and forth to the camera. Like, this is what we do. This is bloodline business. And just really hammering that point home, like, hey, we take out all you guys. It doesn't matter. And now we're taking out the guy that's supposed to beat me. That should have been more of a vocal point, and it wasn't there. Roman wasn't there. So I think that was the missed opportunity there.
Yeah. If it was like a cohesive, like, beat down, like you got Jimmy holding them, you got The Rock, throwing hits and blah, blah, blah. Somebody getting, or even in that sense, you take the trash can, just like bashing it over his head while somebody's like restraining him, or like, I feel like it, kind of like, this is the bloodline, this is what we do. And, it just, I don't know. From what every hit that The Rock or push that he threw him into the wall was so devastating that Cody couldn't do anything. It was just like, come on, guys. He's not throwing him on like some huge velocity that he can't get up from that, So.
Yeah, I just felt like that was just a missed opportunity. I felt like there was something there that was needed. We got what we wanted, right? Like, that was the needed thing. Like, we needed the physicality to happen, but it was just like the delivery was bad. That's my only thing. Like, the delivery wasn't there. But yeah, we're gonna continue. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
No. I was just gonna reiterate the fact that, like, it's been a minute. It's been a minute for The Rock as far as physicality goes. I honestly think he probably was thinking about being more protective and less aggressive. That's probably why he came off that way.
Man's a movie star. Man's a movie star. He works in action scenes all the time. You tell me he can't do a beatdown backstage segment?
The Rock held the helicopter with the chain, okay? The Rock moved the missile, right?
Man, as
on
he
ice.
Flexed and his cast broke off.
No, that was the most ridiculous one.
Oh my god. That's why that's when I stopped watching Fast. I was like, I can't watch these movies anymore.
This dude's been in the hospital the entire movie, and now all of a sudden, now that the attack is literally around the corner from him, now all of a sudden he's good to fight. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Divine intervention, man. Those moments. That's what creates heroes, okay, Brian? Those moments. And hopefully this moment creates a hero in Cody Rhodes. But we could continue on with another segment. The Chicago Second City Saint, CM Punk returning to a showdown with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, obviously coming out in his hometown of Chicago. basically laying the land of his status for WrestleMania and what he's going to be doing heading into the big show and what role he would play, and basically just rattling off the names that he's looking at to be facing. He mentioned Roman Reigns, Drew, Seth, mentioned a plethora of people, a couple podcasts that he he pays attention to, and was kind of figuring out his role. Should I be commentary? What role should I play? And that leads to Drew McIntyre coming out. And these guys have a back and forth for the ages that really was reminiscent of back in the day type promos where they really just let guys go. And these guys digged into each other. Drew basically saying, hey, I was the chosen one, and CM Punk saying, hey, who called you that? And basically alluding to that, which was awesome because it's like, we can't say Vince McMahon on WWE television anymore, but you know who I'm talking about. So those guys having little zingers back and forth, which lets for Seth to come out as well. What do you guys think about this promo package and CM Punk's ability to come back and just command the crowd in front of his home crowd of Chicago? Drew coming out with his own zingers. Seth Rollins coming out with his own zingers. And I think this is the best that Drew and Seth continually week to week now have looked in their feud building up to WrestleMania. And obviously, going forward, it's going to involve these three guys vying for the title, I believe, which will be smart. But what do you guys think about that segment on Raw?
That was one of the more entertaining segments that I've seen in a very long time. I even went as far to ask in the chat, is this possibly the segment of the year so far? I know some of us didn't get that far, but I definitely believe it's a top segment of the year so far. I mean, I literally think that Triple H grabbed the three of these guys and beforehand and pretty much said, hey guys, you guys got 15 minutes, and the end goal of this segment is to pretty much announce that CM Punk is going to be the commentating this match at WrestleMania. However you guys get there is up to you. Go. And that's literally what we saw. And like Daniel said, this was so reminiscent of back in the day during the Attitude Era where like guys, come on. Everybody ain't MJF. Everybody's not John Cena. There are some people that need like scripts to be able to recite lines because they don't have the muscle memory to just remember things. But these three guys, especially you're talking about CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew lately, who's been carrying this feud, they definitely have been at their best on the mic when they go off the cuff. And literally, that's literally what it seemed like. It didn't seem scripted at all, and literally just seemed like these guys just went out there, had fun with it. I really do think Punk was trying to get Drew to say Vince McMahon on TV, because you don't say something like that. Who chose you? And like I said in the chat, I can only imagine backstage when he asked that question, who chose you? How many people backstage were just on pins and needles like, yo, he needs to relax.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
This is 2 weeks before WrestleMania. We don't need that negative publicity right now. Like, don't know. But the segment definitely did what it needed to. I really do love how, like I said, because like it was presented, the whole idea was Punk is going to be the commentating. I like how when Seth Rollins asked the Chicago crowd if he should be the referee, and how the crowd pretty much said, no, fuck the commentary. We want him to referee. Mm-hmm. And then Seth Rollins pointed out his injured arm, and then Punk went down and counted with his other arm. He was showing that, like, yeah, I could be the referee, which I kind of think was kind of like, well, you're kind of coming out to say you're going to do commentary. And if you're giving people hope, that showing people that you can be the referee and they want you to be the referee more, that could backfire on you. But then he kind of cleaned up by saying, like, I don't think I should be referee. I won't be an objective referee with these two dipshits. So, which I thought was clever as shit because it made sense. Because he made up for it with that line, because it's true. It's true when you look at this. When you look at the story, especially from Drew's perspective. Mm-hmm. And I just want to add, earlier in the day, Drew McIntyre, I think he went on Instagram and he posted a video of him at Mindy's Bakery, which is the bakery that Punk had talked about during the All Out, which I thought was hilarious. That was pure comedy, because it's like, dude, obviously you heard about the bakery from that promo, and he said that they closed on Monday and Tuesday. So the fact that you still went over there knowing that shit just shows how clever that was from Drew's perspective. He's the hardest character right now. But as far as the in totality of the segment, the segment, it definitely did what it needed to do. And I really do hope now with this new directive with TKO that we see a lot more of this. When promos are the best, when guys are authentic, when they're real, you can even throw Rock in this category, even with all the profanity. At least you get the sense that like that's legit. That's legit. He's not faking it or phoning it in. And it was a good segment. I was entertained.
Yeah, that thing with Drew had me kind of cracking up, and then the way he's been just conducting himself and just like shitting on Punk this whole time, has been great. I don't know if this segment was segment of the year for me. I don't know. I feel like there was just like it was cool to kind of see everybody just kind of do their own thing and just like bring whatever they wanted to the table. But I felt like it was missing like some big interactions or some big shit talking, I guess. I don't know, just like a big point that would have like kind of reeled it all in. Obviously with Drew just kind of going off at Punk like, oh, look, I prayed for all this to happen to you, and you want to do commentary, that's perfect, because then you can call me at say my name as I win the title and everything, so it's like Drew, I think, did a great promo. Punk, I don't know, his little comments, like he said, "Who called you that?" Or, "Oh, this guy over here, get your ass in the ring." Like, I don't know. I feel like he either just didn't know what to say, or it was just like, let me keep trying to cut him off because he's
but see, here's the thing about it: because it was in Chicago, he can get away with it there.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. They're all gonna cheer for him no matter what. Yeah. But I think the segment, did its job. Obviously, getting more people hyped about this match. I really hope Drew gets his moment. I don't know what part Punk is going to play in, or if at all, in like trying to screw someone. I don't know. But I think it definitely is making the match much hotter and elevating it to like, this is a must-see match. Like, yeah, this could go either way. Seth could retain. It would suck that Drew misses out on another huge moment in trying to capturing the title. But it's like, if he does, that is his moment, and then you are going to have like Punk there front row watching him win the title. So there's a lot going on in this feud, and I like what they're letting them do on the mic and stuff. So.
All right, so Daniel, before you go, I just wanted to just throw in another comment because Louis, you had mentioned about what the booking could be for the match. So I don't know if you guys saw, but I saw it on social media that apparently during I think it was during Miz and Truth's backstage segment with DIY or with the New Day, that in the background Drew McIntyre was with Paul Heyman.
Was he?
Yeah. It was actually a photo that was going around social media that during that New Day and DIY segment that Paul Heyman and Drew were in the background. One of those foreshadowing camera shots where it's not focused on them, but it's focused on like what's in front. So when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." Now
they have interacted before over the course of this whole storyline here. Of course, of when Drew won the Chamber and stuff like that, they have shown them in interactions a little bit. So if somehow the Bloodline is going to get involved in that, whatever helps Drew get the title, I'm for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm for it at this point. So if he has to be a Paul Heyman guy or get some help from the Bloodline, the very existence that cost him so much pain, it just adds to his character.
Yeah.
It just adds to his character. Yeah. It makes him a hypocrite. It makes him hateable. Like, that's the part of it. So if that has to happen for Drew to win the title, I'm fine with that. Overall, this promo, I liked it because CM Punk's energy, and there was a point in time when he kept asking the crowd, I'm like, is he cleared? They're going to make this a triple threat. That's what I was hoping in the back of my mind. Like, hey, I'm cleared, and I'm going to be in the match. Like, there was a point when he was cutting his promo, like, I hope that's what it was, but it wasn't. But I just like the fact that all these guys were able to shine. All these guys were able to go in there and hold their own. I like the comments that Drew made when he said, "Hey, you're straight edge. You don't drink. You don't smoke. But every time you're
that was clever. That was clever.
Like he's on a roll right now, and I love it. CM Punk was able to zing him back, of course, with the chosen comments and egging him on to get in the ring and stuff like that. Seth Rollins coming out and basically saying, "Hey, I hate both you guys," and basically just getting over on himself. That's tough in a place like Chicago, especially when CM Punk is there. But overall, just thought everyone got their shine in this one. Everyone was able to get over. I love the energy all the guys brought. And again, this shows that guys are able to go on the fly. And the worst case scenario is you have situations where it's a bad promo. So I hope going up to other pay-per-views, leading up. Of course, these are more the veteran guys, veteran talkers, veteran guys on the roster that you feel comfortable doing that with. So if this is the blueprint, hey, this is the standard, hopefully that goes going forward in terms of letting people get over organically and say what they want to say. Here are the bullet points, kind of like what Austin said on one of his documentaries. Here's the bullet points, hit these bullet points. However you get there is up to you. And I feel like they should give a lot more credence to the wrestlers on the card, especially WWE, where you think they would have that training, that presentation, that know-how on how to cut a promo, how to deliver it, and get to where they needed to go. And I feel like all three of these guys did that, and I thought that was what made it impactful. And that's good to see. So hopefully that's a blueprint going forward for other feuds, even lower card guys. Like you got to get that experience for those guys to get over. Where we see all these promo packages of them leading up to the ring and stuff like that. I feel like that's good. I'll also practice with that and getting that repetition. So hopefully that's something that can continue to manifest itself for other characters on the roster. But overall, these guys, you got CM Punk, you got Drew, you got Seth. They were able to hold their own, get over with the crowd, create a legendary segment, which was a pretty good segment. Leading into WrestleMania gets us more intrigued. CM Punk is going to be on commentary, which is like, okay, like
I really thought he was going to be the ref.
That's not what I wanted. You know, if he was the ref, that would have been interesting. Yeah. But I guess he's not cleared yet. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure they would have went that route in some capacity. But if he's not cleared and not ready to go, then
especially at this point, because the people are actually demanding it. So
yeah. maybe WrestleMania Backlash in France. Maybe he can maybe he can be the special guest referee. But moving on here to another confrontation on Monday Night Raw: Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch brawl. Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley coming out, basically going back and forth with each other. Rhea Ripley touching the unforbidden rule: don't mention Becky Lynch's daughter or her family. Getting really testy, getting real personal. Dominic Mysterio taking a clear punch to the chin from Becky Lynch, resulting in a brawl. What do you guys think about this promo between these two women?
See, that's a brawl. That's a brawl. Why can't The Rock just do that?
He did. He landed 2 soup bones over Cody Rhodes' head. Godzilla.
Facial expressions.
But see, like for me, them going at each other and actually fighting and like, you know, brawling, that's what I'm like, it's so simple. Just do that. I don't get why we're not just getting more of that. Why are we not getting more just bad blood? Yeah, you can, you know, talk that talk and, you know, take shots and, you know, be creative and stuff, but it's like there should be more like bad blood, especially leading into Mania. Yeah, heat. There should be more heat leading into Mania, where it's just like, all right, you know, look, they're being the heel right now because of this, they're being the babyface because of this. It's just like, let's get more, not action, but like more like more heat on them. Like there's animosity, like they hate each other, they want to rip each other's heads off and blah, blah, blah. And you know, I think it did a good job. You know, Rhea is dumb hot right now, you know, and like what Becky was saying is true. She's like, you know, I'm over here busting my ass, showing what it's, you know, to be a champion, and like, do you even wrestle on Raw anymore? And I was like,
it has been
true. What was the last match she had besides elimination?
Was it Ivy Nile?
Yeah, I think it was her. No,
That was like 2 months ago.
I'm the champ. I work smarter, not harder. Exactly. That's why, yes. Which in a way kind of makes Becky look weak in a sense mentally because it's like
she's over here having last woman standing matches and all these crazy matches. Like, are you really gonna go into WrestleMania after having all these matches? You really think you're gonna be good enough to beat me? Which is the story writing itself. And it is funny that it is a story of like Becky kind of proving that she can still go with the best because Rhea is the best right now. So it's like, I don't know. I like the depths of the story is taking, and Rhea being a true heel, bringing up her daughter, which
there's a no. You can't do that.
People, hey, remember Samoa Joe and Wendy? So family and kids aren't ever really off the table like that. So
yeah, I was going to address that. So as far as the promo goes, from Rhea's side, all positive, all good, especially with the points that she was making. Talking about how she can go viral, she can post anything on social media, and the fans will just eat it up, which is 100% true. That even whether heel, face, it doesn't matter. Everybody universally has an opinion about Rhea Ripley. Now when Becky punched Dom, I like that. Now when the brawl happened, I like that. The only thing that I didn't like, and Louis, you just brought it up, when Rhea did mention Becky's daughter, and then Becky then got emotional. I don't know about you guys, but whenever Becky is cutting a promo and then she gets emotional, and when it's talking about family, I don't know why, but lately it's been coming off as whiny to me. It doesn't sound like somebody that's been through it, and you feel sorry for them and you want them to win more. It comes off as somebody who's just bitchy and whiny and just complaining about the fact that their daughter just got name dropped, because her daughter has been name dropped a couple of times even before this. And he's every time, her daughter has been name dropped. I think Trish may have done it once. I think maybe I don't even remember off the top of my head.
It has been mentioned.
I may have brought it up. And every time her daughter gets brought up, she just comes off whiny about it within the promo. But that's the only thing I take from that. But as far as like the basic context of this feud, it did definitely do what Rock and Cody, I guess some people are saying they didn't do as far as the physicality goes. But I'm at a point now with this feud where it's just like, okay, let's just get to the match now, because they have been alluding to this match since the Royal Rumble when Becky said she was going to win the Royal come for Rhea. They alluded to this at the goddamn WrestleMania press conference where they made it clear that Becky Lynch was going to win an Elimination Chamber. So they've been alluding to this feud for like a good 3 months right now, and I almost feel as though, because you kind of already knew that it was going to be these two at WrestleMania, that they should have almost treated it like a UFC style build and just did promo packages where maybe one final talking segment on the go home show, and just do promo packages leading up to the match, because the names already sell it. And I know they're kind of telling the story of Becky is such a fighter that she's not even caring about the title match as much, because she wants to actually fight and earn for it. Where you got Rhea as the smarter champion, not fighting as much. So you already got that story going. But
go ahead. I feel like the story does write itself. You got the young upcomer trying to edge her legacy, right? Like, she's already beaten Charlotte, right, who is considered the GOAT of women's wrestling. She's already beaten all these other women. She's on the top of her game right now, and she's trying to add another mark to her legacy, another carving into her statue, or whatever you want to say. Becky Lynch is still trying to prove that she's over the top. She still has it, right? So that story writes itself. You got the young upstart versus the veteran, you should say. And I really like that component of it. I like the part of Rhea getting personal, because that's the next step for a heel, right? You got to get personal with the person. Mentioning her daughter and stuff like that, and saying that she's going to beat her in front of her daughter, which would make anybody emotional, which is correctly the response, I think. But the issue with Becky is that once she starts getting a little emotional and starts crying, it gets a little disjointed a little bit.
It's whiny. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and she kind of starts rambling a little bit, and it's like, okay, that's a negative point. But we did need that brawl. Like, we needed that brawl. Like, we needed to see Becky, like, lose a screw loose. Like, I've overcome so much. I overcome the Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, and now I get here. I overcome Nia Jax, who has been a nemesis for years, who basically led to my reign atop WWE, getting punched in the face all those years ago, creating the man Becky Lynch, that whole persona, creating this reign, getting over, having a child, coming back, continuing that reign, the trials and tribulations. So that's showing her fighting spirit, which I do like of that aspect. Do I like that she's beating the hell out of Nia Jax all the time and getting these wins? No, because I love Nia Jax's return on this. I love her ring work. I love her promos. How she's just a bitch. She doesn't care. I love that part about Nia Jax in that feud, and I thought that was a good testing point. And now you have Rhea Ripley, who defeated her at Elimination Chamber. It's like, okay, and then she came back to still be a thorn in Becky Lynch's side. So it's like, okay, I understand it from that standpoint. And now we get to this promo, which I thought was great in terms of Rhea just basically just kind of like putting it in Becky's head, like, you're wearing down. I'm fresh as a daisy. You're not going to beat me at my best, and you're not 100%. So I like that whole aspect of that, and that's pretty much the story. Dom getting punched in the face. Dom, forever how the crowd feels about Dominic Mysterio. Kudos to him for just always delivering in any role that he's out there.
Yep.
Kudos to him getting punched in the face. But we got that brawl, which was impressive. Security coming out, holding them back, which I thought was a nice touch, which was interesting because later in the night, the security was nowhere to be found. So
do it for everyone. It's like, why?
I mean, he's on the board of directors. I'm pretty sure when the security came, he said, "Fall the fuck back, or you guys are fired." Like,
you know what's funny? You know what's funny? Rhea played into like bringing up Becky's daughter like perfectly, because obviously she was like, watch her, like, watch me be great and stuff, and it's like, no, sorry, she's gonna call me mommy, and it's like that's just like perfect with what she is right now, you know, and it's just like, it's just like the perfect setup. And you know, I didn't take Becky's as whining. I think it just took it like, you know, you don't talk about my kid or I'm gonna rip your head off. You know,
it just got emotional. That's all. Like, you can tell that she was.
No one wants to hear anybody talk negative about their kids. You know,
I agree. No, look, I agree with that. But I'm just saying that when she does get emotional, it comes off that way. Obviously, I'm not saying that she's trying. Obviously, she's not trying to do that. But
no, I know.
It could just be the language barrier, maybe that just naturally happens because she's Irish. I don't know, but that's just how it comes off to me.
It just got a little slurred, but overall the brawl was nice. I like that the fact they were going at each other. Rhea Ripley laid out Becky Lynch and then went to go check on Dom, and they're leaving, and Becky Lynch jumps off the steps to attack her again. So it's like, all right, we're getting those back and forth and stuff like that. So again, that's what we needed. That's what we've been saying. We needed these people to get physical. We needed these feuds to get physical, and they have been getting physical. So at least we got that. Let's wrap it up here with Raw notes here. We got Sami Zayn continuing his Gunther continuing his mind games with Sami Zayn. Gunther basically just saying, hey, I'm already in Sami's head. He's not going to beat me. Like, he's too emotional. You saw what he did last week in a backstage segment. Sami Zayn has a match with Bronson Reed, and Gunther comes out to watch, and that takes Sami Zayn's attention away from Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed lands the splash off the top rope, which was crazy. I thought that was a crazy splash, like how Sami took it, and I was just like, damn. Beautiful. What do you guys think about that continuation of that story where Sami's kind of needing Chad Gable's advice and Gunther playing these mind games?
Let's get Chad in that match. Let's make it a triple threat.
What we really need to ask is he just done with Alpha Academy now? Because I'm like, I'm watching him give this advice. I'm watching him give this advice to Sami Zayn. I'm like, yo, this is great. This is great advice. So if this is such great advice, why the hell is this advice not impacting your stable right here? Especially with your youngest student and Maxine, kind of struggling lately.
Yeah. Triple H says long-term booking.
Yeah.
Maybe that leads to the Alpha Academy turning on Chad Gable. Maybe that's what it is.
They're on NXT trying to get a NXT title match, and they're not doing too good. You don't see Chad there, but just continuing on from this topic from last week. I mean, it almost seems as though like he should be in this match now as a triple threat. I mean, when they
missed opportunity.
Match, yeah, exactly. It was a missed opportunity. Yeah, because when the gauntlet match was announced, I think we all had predicted that like, those two are going to be the last two because because they make the most sense with both of them being underdog characters. So, I mean, now you got one underdog helping the other underdog, and honestly, Chad Gable's story with Gunther was more personal because his family was involved and they were at ringside.
Is Sami Zayn joining the Alpha Academy?
No.
That is the question. He's getting all this tutelage. He's getting all this help.
If anything, could we see a heel turn from Chad? Could we see
that would be something.
Like he screws Sammy because he wants to be the one to do it.
Yeah, and then he'll screw Alpha Academy because he doesn't.
I don't think so. He needs lackeys. I think I would like Chad Gable with those.
You can always get new lackeys.
No.
I'm just saying.
Otis as his powerhouse, Tozawa as his guy, kind of his X-Pac, and then have Maxine Dupree be like a Tory and just be a damsel in distress and just do all this dumb shit. She's not she can get over that way. Build heat. She's getting killed in the ring anyway. Otis and Tozawa are kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit behind him.
Hey, they were in that tag team qualifier, even though they lost.
Oh, I'm fine with that. But I'm just like, that's not the natural Alpha Academy though. That's not. You know what I mean? So it's like, in that retrospect, if we're gonna do something with Chad Gable going forward, turn him heel. I'm fine with that. But yeah, we'll continue to get mind games between Gunther and Sammy. We'll see what happens next week because obviously it's leading up to the go home show on Raw. We have Candice LeRae cheating again to beat Ivy Nile. They're continuing that storyline of Indy Hartwell kind of not knowing what side to be on in that situation. But Candice LeRae kind of just continuing to be the poison pixie that we saw in NXT. Kind of trying to build that up a little bit here. I don't like how they're doing it because it's like I feel like she should be more vicious, and I don't feel like it's coming across on TV that way. I just don't feel like it's being as effective as it needed to be.
Hey, she talked about Maxine's dead brother. That's pretty serious.
That's so. We don't need that.
I get what you mean though, because it was like
we don't need that on this level.
No,
there's not enough heat for that. There's not enough heat for that. Like.
I don't know. I mean, I like, seeing her get more of a spotlight because it's crazy to think, a lot of people don't know that she's been doing this way longer than she's been in WWE. Mm-hmm. So she actually is a really good wrestler. I guess maybe they're just trying to play more into her heel persona. I don't know what's going to come of this. If we're going to get a pre-show match or something. Mm-hmm. Or if this is something that's going to lead to something further down, who knows? But I don't know. I'm glad that they're finally giving Candice LeRae like a kind of a shot to like show what she can do, whether it's a character change or she's got to align herself with new people because obviously Indy has a problem with what she's doing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they go forward with it.
Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that they're at least attempting to put a spotlight on Candice LeRae. Mm-hmm. Like Lewis said, she's been doing this for such a long time, being on the independents, fighting men. I think she has a famous match from Lucha Underground that diehard wrestling fans still talk about. So So I like the fact that she's getting the spotlight, but this probably isn't the best way to go about it. I mean, they had when they started this story. I mean, they had a true intent. They were pretty much just saying, let's take the BS from social media with Maxine. Let's try to make a good old underdog story out of it, and it's not coming across that way. I mean, I actually think this storyline is actually starting now to hurt Maxine more than what they were trying to do, because now it's just like we as the fans, we think that she sucks, and now you guys want us to clearly see that she sucks through Candice LeRae. So you pretty much expressing our feelings towards Maxine through Candice LeRae in a story. And while I like that the spotlight's on Candice, not really the best way to go about it.
I like it. If this is just me booking, if her, Natalya, maybe Shayna Baszler team up and they just form this group that just beats up on the inexperienced stars, and Indy Hartwell turns around and tries to lead that group, Ivy Nile, in some capacity, if that happens and they build towards that, I'm fine with that. You also get a women's tag team out of it that I feel like it will be better between Natalya and Candice LeRae as the veterans. Maybe that's just me booking it long term and just looking at it from that aspect of how everyone can benefit, because now you have a story. You have the veterans versus the young stars coming into the Raw. So I feel like that can be something that can be exploited down the line. I feel like that's an idea.
Okay, so you said Natalya, right?
Yeah, the boat.
Which I watched. So I watched NXT earlier. She was on NXT and she responded to an open challenge. And I swear to you guys, it's the most over she's been in like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. Like when her music played, the crowd erupted. And with how as awkward as she sounds when she's cutting her promos, they were actually cheering for her in between sentences. So
that's telling you guys.
So NXT is the cure-all for everybody. If she can go down there and get over like that.
It's also not her first time down in NXT.
I know it's not her first time.
I keep telling you guys.
She's over there. So she can be a top talent over there easily if she wanted to.
I keep telling y'all that match with Rhea Ripley showed that she still has it. Okay?
What's the it? What is the it?
We cannot forget about that. Like, there is something there that WWE has not been able to tap to. And let's be honest, she has been underneath Vince McMahon's regime. Okay? So that's all I'm saying about that. Like, this can be something that's happening. And again, my idea of the veterans going after the young guns, I would like that. We got another impressive match between Ricochet and JD McDonough.
Very good match.
I was gonna bring up this match because that has some highlights.
Like, I just feel like Ricochet's hitting his stride, and maybe this is just a new revitalized push underneath Triple H post WrestleMania. Like, Ricochet is going to be highlighted on the show more, but JD McDonough, in the same fact, both of those guys just mesh well together. Yeah, just mesh well together. And they're putting on good matches week to week. What do you guys think about that? And Lewis, you were alluding to it, that you wanted to talk about this match.
Yeah, just Ricochet finally racking up the wins. Hopefully this leads to not just another like US title or something like that. Hopefully, I've always been I've been a fan of Ricochet and the fact his athleticism, his promo work could have used some work, honestly.
What they're trying to work on with the backstage segments, I feel like those are better rather than being live.
Yeah, it was. At least the last one was for sure.
That's holding him back. Literally, that's one thing. Just his promos. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I like Ricochet, and I like what he's done. I liked him since Lucha Underground, Prince Puma. I love that whole character, like how he was young and stuff like that. And you hear about the stuff with him and Ospreay in New Japan and stuff like that. And these. But it's just like, what's the ceiling for him? Like, what's a guy? Yeah. Rey Mysterio is obviously the cruiserweight that we've seen elevate to that high status, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think of him like Ricochet, kind of like Evan Bourne or Mustafa Ali when he first came in. Like, what's the ceiling for those guys other than mid card? I don't know if he can get into that main event tier with his style and size. And even in this day and age where it's more progressive, like we see guys like AJ Styles guys of that nature who are smaller in stature get over. But I just don't know for Ricochet. I like him a lot. I like his in-ring work. He's flawless in the ring. But it's just like, what's going to be the thing that gets him to that next level? I don't know.
Yeah. Because, I mean, do we really see him win a world title right now? I don't.
Yeah, not right now.
I would like for him to get a shot. That would have been dope.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
him
it'd be those type of
shot.
situations. Yeah.
Yeah. He could definitely be a challenger or whatever if he's like getting this many wins.
What we need is Samantha Irvin to turn heel. That's what we need.
Well, I was also going to bring that up too. I was like, we've never seen Ricochet heel in WWE. So it's like, what would that look like? Would that be a better position for him? Would he be
He needs Samantha.
If he's going to character,
I don't think so. Because his promos are already suffering, and obviously, if he's going to be a good heel, that's a huge component of it. And because pretty much all his offense are highlights are all.
He can heal it up though. He can heal up. He can be a heel high flyer. We need that. We've seen it with Pac. We've seen it with Pac.
Now was he a heel in Lucha Underground as Prince Puma?
No, he was a face.
Okay. He was a face there. Okay.
But just in general, I just feel I don't know Samantha Irvin promo package or whatever it is, she can be the sexy valet, putting over her man, being cocky for him, and him just going out there and performing. Like, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. But yeah, with Ricochet and JD McDonough, it's just like those guys are kind of undersized. I don't know if they're ever going to bring back the cruiserweight title. I'm not sure they're going to do that. But
I don't think they need to. Maybe it could benefit, but
in general, I feel like those guys are putting on great work and somehow need to be rewarded for that, because those guys are carrying a spot on the card for the past couple of weeks as the opening match or the opening segment or a mid-card match, but it keeps the match is so good that it's like we're all interested in it. So it's like I would love to see those guys get rewarded somehow. We have the New Day and DIY picking up the win over the New Day, which is kind of the right move in my opinion. I think continuing to build momentum for DIY heading into WrestleMania. But what do you guys think about that match? It was okay. I didn't think it was anything. I thought it could have been better. I thought it would have been better, but it was what it was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was what it was. You know, you're pretty straightforward. The tag team match. I will say this much though: DIY is slowly starting to become might be a pick for this ladder match now. I am gonna give a little preview for next week's show, but I am leaning towards DIY right now. I mean, if you look at the circumstances of it being a six team ladder match, and if you're looking to get the titles off of Judgment Day and hopefully lead towards a tag team title split, when you look at all the teams that are there, story wise, R-Truth and Miz make the most sense. But if we're talking about splitting the tag team titles, actually having a legit tag team, kind of kick that off, it should be DIY. I mean, New Day, they've been established. They've already have one of the longest tag team title reigns of all time. So as far as tag team wrestling goes, there's nothing else for the New Day to accomplish. So I mentioned R-Truth and Miz. I already mentioned DIY. Oh, the other two spots are going to be filled this Friday tomorrow. So, so the tag team match was what it was, and then it turned into your typical WrestleMania build with all the teams coming out and brawling. Probably going to get something like that on Raw this coming Monday. But it was a good match for what it was.
Yeah, I like the match. It was okay. I feel like the right team won. I don't know what transition the New Day is going to go into at this point, but we'll see what happens with both these teams, and especially DIY leading into WrestleMania. We had Andrade defeating Giovanni Vinci in a nice match, continuing to build wins for Andrade, the returning Andrade. I'm just wondering what direction they're going to go with him as well, because we have all this Legado del Fantasma, we have the LWO, and this flirting with the Judgment Day. I'm just like, there's so many people involved in which direction he can go, and I'm wondering what way he's going to go. That's all I'm wondering about Andrade with his return and stuff like that. And obviously, Zelina Vega is a part of the LWO. She's married to Aleister Black. I don't know what situation that plays in her potentially managing Andrade again, which I thought would have been dope. But I don't know what they're going to do with Andrade. He's hot. He's still coming back. He's still good.
See, I almost feel like they should have waited until after WrestleMania to bring back Andrade, because he's starting, because you're building towards WrestleMania. Your priority has to be on building towards WrestleMania. So in the process, some guys end up getting lost in the shuffle. Some guys that shouldn't be getting lost in the shuffle, because you're talking about a guy like Andrade, who obviously has the history of being there before. And he went to AEW, and even before NXT, you know, he has the Lucha Libre heritage and everything. So he's definitely a guy that you wouldn't want to be lost in the shuffle. So I almost felt like they should have just held off on him until after WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I just had an idea that maybe he's crazy, but maybe he can be the guy that defeats Gunther somehow. That would be the nice way to put a star on Andrade, of him coming back and beating Gunther. We saw the impressive matches that he had in NXT with Robert Roode,
Johnny Gargano. All his matches with Gargano are 5 stars.
So we saw that aspect of Andrade and what he's able to do with NXT, and this style of presentation now. Him versus Gunther, to me, in my eyes, if Sammy doesn't win at WrestleMania, you need to create a star. You need to put something on his back to project him. Who's a better person right now in that mid-card to have matches with everybody? Probably Andrade. His style, his flair, his charisma. I feel like that's a guy that would be a nice option to do that with. I mean, if it's not going to be Chad Gable. But Andrade, he needs something. And I feel like they should not waste this main event, this main roster run with him. They should not do that. He should be as impactful as anybody on the card, because he's that impressive. We've seen it. We've seen how hard-hitting he is. We see how good he is in the ring. We see how charismatic he is. Do not waste this guy. Figure out something to do with him. He cannot just be lost in the shuffle. I don't want him to get lost in the shuffle with the LWO, Legado del Fantasma angle. I don't want him getting lost on Raw, just being in senseless tag teams or anything like that. Do something with Andrade, man, because he's that good. He's that good. We also got Jey Uso defeating Nakamura to end the night. Nakamura kind of just another guy lost in the shuffle on this. Jey Uso, Jimmy, and Solo basically continuing to be a thorn in his side. And it's interesting because people were kind of alluding to the pre-promo towards the match with Cody and Seth and Jey. Was Cody there, or was it just Jey? No, Seth was saying something isn't right, something's going on. And people were kind of alluding to, some people were saying that Seth looks like he's going to turn heel, or like it's not coming off as genuine that he cares and stuff like that. But he was out there post-brawl to help Jey. So I'm like, I don't know whether that's happening, but what do you guys think about that and what Jey and Jimmy and that kind of feud is going on with?
Real quick, I feel I don't know. It's like, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Brian, you go. I just lost my train of thought.
All right, okay. So as far as Jey and Jimmy goes, well, I feel last week's kind of promo duel between them kind of like set in stone for like how this is going to go moving forward. I think they probably think that for this story, because it's brother against brother, kind of sells itself. I'm just looking forward to that promo package they throw together for this match, because they have so much stuff that they can go back to. We're talking about photos from when they were born. You talk about FCW days when they first came, their debut when they had the face paint and everything. There's so much history to tell between these two. So I'm looking forward to that. And when you talk about Nakamura, I mean, he's another guy where it's like it's so unfortunate he's getting lost in the shuffle, but it's like when you
they should have put the title on him.
Like, building WrestleMania. Even if your roster is that, and when your roster is that deep, and you need to prioritize certain people going into your biggest show, some guys end up getting.
Even if it was for 2-3 months, what was that? September he was fighting Extreme Rules or whatever it was.
Yeah,
they had the Great Muda in the crowd. I'm like, this is perfect. Just let him win the title, even if it's for a couple months. He could have dropped it at the Rumble. He could have still got this build up. Like, come on. Oh man.
Like, just certain guys, like, bro, and you it's like it makes you look at the roster, and it's like it's a good problem to have, but it's like certain guys you just don't want that happening to.
You want to know what? You want to know what? They need another brand. That's what it is. They need another brand. Make
For
another
what?
AEW has 5 shows. Come on.
There's no more nights of television, man. That they can.
Oh, there is.
They already got Monday and Friday.
Move all those guys to NXT. NXT can be a 3-hour show.
So when Raw goes to Netflix, actually, never mind, because that's still going to be on Mondays. So never mind.
Oh man,
put it on Netflix. Everybody will watch it.
And then you got NXT on Tuesday.
Nah, it's a lot. But it's just like those guys, and
they're not going to put a show on Wednesday night because you already know the fucking people at AEW are going to start bitching and complaining about it. So I mean, but Ring of Honor is a different story on Thursday. They can do something on Thursdays. Thursdays you're going up against Ring of Honor and Impact, means you're not really going up against
Thursday night shotgun. Is that what they're going to call it?
I mean, Ring of Honor and Impact. That means you're not going up against anybody. So all right.
Except for Athena.
I saw something that TNA, like some people walked out or some people left there, but I'm not sure. But
because of Scott D'Amore.
The new takeover or something. I saw something. I didn't read it, but something's happening with TNA. But let's get into our last segment here. Jade Cargill to debut on SmackDown finally.
Too late.
Randomly before WrestleMania, a week out. I don't know who she's facing. They didn't say anything like that. They just said she's going to debut. Now, is this going to be against a jobber or somebody worth of value on the roster that she's going to tangle with? Obviously, it's somebody that I would think that would be somebody that she was training with to build up to this. But yeah, I'm excited for her to actually be in the ring and be on SmackDown. She's officially on SmackDown. We actually got the confirmation on that. But it's just like, who is she going to be fighting? They haven't released any details or anything on it.
Did they say she was going to have a match, or did she say she was just going to appear for her first appearance as an official SmackDown superstar? Did they say she was going to have a match?
I don't remember, honestly.
She should wrestle. Yeah. Get it out the way. Yeah. If she's not going to be at WrestleMania, you're already showing her on TV. I mean, we don't know that actually.
Yeah. There are people alluding to her being added into this whole Damage Control versus Naomi and Bianca situation now.
I'm just gonna say this in that regard because I thought about it. I thought it over. There's no way Damage Control can hurt Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. There's no way.
Yes.
There's no way.
I mean, realistically, you could go 2-on-3 with just Bianca and Jade, and I don't think it'd be enough.
I'm just like, there's no way they're beating them. There's no way. Those two powerhouses together.
Yeah, that's why I said Jade and Bianca should be a tag team. That's like a
2-man power trip.
Yeah,
that's what it should be.
That's a power move right there. They would run the whole division like easily.
Yeah, that would be dope long term. But I'm just like right now, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work.
I just think with Jade, like honestly, at this point, like why are you announcing her the week before Mania? I would have just saved her debut for post Mania.
The night before Mania.
Either have her debut at Mania and help Bayley win, or help the post beatdown, whatever's going on, or just have her roll out after that. But it's just like this is a weird timing.
Yeah,
unless she I don't know, but
I wouldn't see her teaming up with Bayley just because it's just I don't know.
Is it
Bayley's kind of like on her own turn type thing right now? So
is it teaming up with Bayley or is it just taking out Damage Control?
Yeah, because
I feel like that's the role it should be. Like,
yeah, because they've already teased the interaction with her and EO and Damage Control, so they did already tease that on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
What if she's training with EO Sky all this time? Because EO really hasn't been wrestling. I can't remember the last time she defended the title. But if she's training with EO and that kind of sets up some type of program That will be interesting. Two dynamic, two different styles of fights, styles of a fighter, high flyer versus a powerhouse, which would be interesting. But it's just like I'm just interested to see what they do with her. So her debuting on SmackDown is going to be interesting, especially at this time of the year where it is random, but does create buzz. So I hope that she does well and it goes somewhere. I'm wondering where.
When have we ever heard of a debut happening so close to WrestleMania?
That's why I'm saying I don't think she's wrestling because it's so damn close to Mania. Why? So if you're planning on having her at WrestleMania, then in this case, then you would say, common sense would say, save the in-ring debut for then. Mm-hmm. But then why even book? Why even book it if she's not going to be involved at WrestleMania?
There's a lot of stuff going on because it's just like you have the whole angle where Bianca's really not trusting Bayley and not wanting to help her. What she is right, she is justified in doing. And then you got Naomi kind of like siding with Bayley, like, hey, she shouldn't be getting beat up. She shouldn't be getting jumped. We should help her. So I'm just wondering, I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to somehow Bianca turning heel, even though I've heard in reports that she said that she doesn't want to turn heel and she wants to continue to be a role model, which is understandable, but it's just like, she needs to turn heel. Like there needs to be something. There needs to be something.
Yo, Bianca, come on, Bianca. Do you not remember your time in NXT when you started out as a heel? You actually did a hell of a job to a point where I thought that character's peak was going to be when she was a heel. I couldn't picture at the time when she was in NXT how this character could translate into a babyface. So that's how good she was doing. That's how good she was doing it. So it's like now you don't want to go back. You got to go back to your roots at least once.
You got it. Especially if they do something where it's a 2-woman power trip, and they, as I said before, they should have joined the Hurt Business as heels, and then got the tag team division, and then BFAB. You don't have to lose her. She can be the manager of them, helping them and cheating for them. These two powerhouses that don't need it, and they can just run Rugshaw, beating up everybody, and then that can lead off to a feud where Jade and Bobby side off with each other, and Montez and Bianca side off with each other, and then you have a feud right there, and that kind of translates guys into different ways. But that's just me long-term booking. But as I said, they should have did some type of 2-woman power trip. That would have been dope. That would be dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to continue going into WrestleMania. We're going to be making our picks next week, heading into WrestleMania. So that's going to be interesting. It feels like forever since we did picks, right? The Elimination Chamber was a little while ago. So we're getting back to our picks. WrestleMania. It's going to be interesting. We got a lot of matches on the card, and I think there's only 10 matches on the card total. They're going to add some pre-show stuff, obviously, but it's just like a lot of these matches are going to get time at WrestleMania. So I'm hoping that they really do that well.
Sure.
But
I mean, it's again. I think I've mentioned this for a couple of weeks right now. I mean, talking about how deep the roster is, especially on the women's side. Again, once the women's title matches were announced, you looked at the rest of their deep women's roster, and you're like, "What are we gonna do with the rest of these women? I mean, we gotta find stuff for them." And I think that's the reason why they're putting Bianca back with Damage Control, because it's just like, well, we can't keep Bianca off the card. I mean, it's WrestleMania. I mean, she's one of our. Is she on the card? She wasn't on the card. She wasn't before this. She wasn't on the card. They hadn't anything planned.
That's why I'm wondering what they're going to do. The tag titles, we don't know what's happening with them as well. So it's like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Bianca and Naomi versus the Kabuki Warriors in some capacity. Who else are they going to face?
I just kind of want Naomi to kind of do her own thing. Like, I finally just
they have her looking like a chump right now, which I don't like.
I know. Yeah.
I understand the beatdowns, which is fine and cool and stuff like that, but it's like she should be a little bit more.
I know it's almost like they picked up right where they left off with her before she left, and it's like she pulled a Cody Rhodes and a Drew McIntyre. She went somewhere else, got hot, became the top woman over at TNA, and she became a better all around performer, both in
that's
ring.
My thing, because it's like she's better. She's better in the ring. She's better in the ring. She worked on her skills, so it's like reward that. I don't like her losing to Tiffany Stratton and stuff like that. I don't like that. It's like,
see, I was fine with that.
At least have her cheat to win. At least have her cheat to win. That's my thing. To just lose clean like that, no. But shit, man, we'll see what happens with WrestleMania picks and the go home show for Raw, especially, and what happens on SmackDown this week. It's going to be interesting. But thank you guys for joining us. Until next time.
What?